Hello, I'm Etna and this is Mike. We're from Source Sligo Cookery School and we're going to show you today how to make a gingerbread house. We have the ingredients laid out here. We have plain flour, caster sugar, dark brown sugar, bread soda, cinnamon and ginger. Some golden syrup and butter. And then for the icing, we have icing sugar and egg whites. We're going to need a baking tray, a palette knife, a wooden spoon, a knife, a spatula, some spoons and a rolling pin. And to place the gingerbread house onto a board or onto a tray afterwards. So if you have all that organised, you're ready to go with the weighing scales and some bowls for mixing your ingredients. What do you think?
I think we've got everything.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay. First thing we need to do is weigh out some butter. Okay, we're going to melt this on top of the stove, so we need 300 grams of butter.
I'll turn on the stove.
Oh, we're nearly there. 293, well that's close enough. And we need 125 grams of caster sugar and 125 grams of dark brown sugar or muscovado sugar.
Nearly there.
That'll do.
Okay.
And last but not least, golden syrup. And 250 grams of golden syrup. Okay. While that's melting, we can weigh out the dry ingredients. We're going to need 725 grams of plain flour, which we want to sieve just to make sure there's no lumps in it. So, do that with the back of a spoon and a sieve. We need 2 teaspoons of bicarbonate of soda. Again, put that through the sieve because it's often quite lumpy. 3 teaspoons of ground ginger. And 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. That looks great, yep.
Okay. Now, mix away.
Okay. Just chuck it all in. Don't worry about it too much. It'll taste delicious anyway. Just pop that onto the baking parchment. Baking parchment is great stuff, nothing sticks to it. It's much better than greaseproof paper. So you have another sheet of that over the top. You can just spread this out with your hands. Spread it out so it's a bit thinner, it'll cool down quicker this way. Quite warm, so we can just leave it like that in a cool place or in the fridge for 20 minutes, half an hour, and then it'll be ready for rolling.
Now, here it is, nice and cool, ready for rolling. So we're going to leave it on the bakewell paper and roll it between the bakewell paper. But before we do that, it is quite a large amount, so we're going to cut it in half. Lovely. And another sheet here. And another sheet. Now.
So you want to roll this out till it's about 5 millimeters thick. That's about 1/4 of an inch. If you haven't gone metric yet.
I'll just show you some of the templates that we have cut out to make the gingerbread house. So this is the final piece with all the gingerbread pieces stuck together, and to do that, to make it like that, we need to make templates. These are available on the web, and or you can just make your own.
That's about 5mm, quarter of an inch thick, so that's about as thick as you want it. So basically what you want to do is place your templates on here and cut around them with a knife. Now it's a bit of a fiddle sometimes to get them all on at the same time, but if you can work it out, you can maybe get 2 pieces at a go and then use the cuttings to roll out again and get all the elements you need for the house. There should be 2 roof sections, 2 gable ends, and a front and a back wall. Now, so don't forget to remove your templates before you put them in the oven, and they need about 10 minutes at 180 degrees. So what we're going to do with the trimmings, Ethna?
I think we put some of the gingerbread people maybe outside the house.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Otherwise it looks like all the buildings in Leitrim and Sligo empty. So you can roll this out again.
A ghost estate of gingerbread houses.
Roll out the trimmings and you can use your imagination.
That's
What
it.
shall we have? A small gingerbread person. Take that out of the oven now, and we're going to put the templates back on top because they've spread in the oven, and we just need to trim these back to the size of the template. They're nearly cooked, but if you don't trim them now at this stage, they're quite hard and they can be a little bit brittle. At the moment they're very easy to trim because they're still soft. Right, so everything's out of the oven, it's all been trimmed. It went back in the oven for 2 minutes and then we let it cool completely, and now it's quite manageable and it's quite strong. I mean, you can't bend it, you won't be able to live in it, but it supports its own weight, and if you don't cook it long enough it might be a bit soft, so it needs the full 12 minutes. Okay, and now to assemble it we need to make a nice sticky icing, and we're going to use a couple of egg whites and some icing sugar for that.
So I've got 500 grams of icing sugar, which is exactly 1 packet, and for 500 grams of icing sugar I need 2 egg whites. So I've separated the egg whites, and all I have here is the nice white of the egg, which I'm going to put in the bowl, and then I'm going to add the icing sugar on top of that. The icing sugar is quite lumpy, so it's best to sieve it directly in on top of the eggs.
But if you add too many egg whites it gets a bit runny and takes a long time to set. But if your eggs have been very small, you might need to put another egg white into this mix. But I think this will be okay, it just needs a little working.
When you have the icing made and you're ready to start piping it, and you don't have a piping bag, you can use one of these Ziploc bags. And all you have to do with one of these is just cut the corner off, and if you cut the corner off and put in your icing in here, then just hold it, you can pipe out through the corner that you've cut and use it like a piping bag.
What we need to do first is put a bead of icing along the bottom of the house so it sticks to the board. So if you could just hold that, Ethna.
Just there. That's it.
Now we're getting a good seal on there.
Okay.
So we'll get the building regulations in order. Now if you haven't got assistance and you're working on your own, what you can do is a couple of tins of whatever you have in your pantry, just to get that to hold in place, because it's very hard doing this on your own. But once you've done the front and you've got it in position, what you need to do next are the 2 gable walls. Again, on the bottom to stop it slipping off the board, and then Ethna's going to stick that on there. A very good BER rating with this house. Gingerbread's a great insulator. So again, more of the same. Nice bead of icing. And just stick that on there, Ethna.
Handy to have a damp cloth beside you.
I should have used silicone.
What's that? We use silicone. No cheating.
And then you place the first roof on. Right now we're ready to decorate the house. We've just put a little bit more egg white into the icing, just to make it a little bit runnier, because we're not using this for construction now, so it doesn't have to be so strong. We're going to use this for decoration. So you can pipe this if you want, or you can use a palette knife to spread it. We're going to decorate the roof with some tiles. We've got some very nice chocolate buttons and chocolate mice and marshmallows, or we can use the frosted shreddies. They look a bit like a thatch roof. So just take the palette knife and spread a bit of the icing over the roof, and then start to decorate.
And you can overlap if you want to.
Look like proper slates. But you don't have to do this, folks. You can use whatever you want.
Just make sure it sticks in the icing.
Pink buttons.
Lovely.
Now, he's looking for a flatmate and the rent's very cheap.
Well, thanks very much for joining Mike and myself from Source Cookery School in Sligo to make the gingerbread house. We're having a gingerbread house competition. The entry forms are available from Hardigan's Wine Shop in Johnson's Court, and all the proceeds are going in aid of Vincent de Paul. We will display all the winning entries in Johnson's Court Shopping Centre on Saturday the 18th of December. So we hope you enjoyed the day. You enjoyed making it, Mike?
Off you go, make your own gingerbread house, folks.
Thank you very much.